Come with us now on a journey through time and space.
To the world of the little man.
Little Meg. Ooh. How you doing, guys? Big Mac Dan School here again today, back once again with another episode of Warhammer Thoughty. Sorry, first of all, that this episode is going out a little later than usual. I just had a busy weekend where I got something crammed into my Sunday morning, so that meant I couldn't record this one when I normally would, although recently I've been recording on Saturday evenings. I just couldn't decide which video I wanted to put out. Anyway, that's beside the point. What's this Little Mech business about? Well, this Little Mech business is about the fact that I'm often asked what got you into wargaming, and my standard answer is something along the lines of my mate was into it, so I got into it when I was 12. But what really got me interested in this whole idea of moving little models around the battlefield, and it goes back probably to way before that, when I was a little kid just playing with toys soldiers, little green army men and brown army men in some cases. And also there was an old couple at the end of my street. I lived at number 20, they lived at number 1, and they had a grandson. And in this old couple's attic was a massive table. From what I remember, this is what it was anyway. A massive table with loads of farm animals set up on basically a miniaturised version of a farm. Now I don't think it was all painted miniatures and everything. It was more like models that you can probably buy in Toys R Us, or Toys R Us has gone bust now, so not Toys R Us, but in toy shops and in shops that sell that sort of thing. So it wasn't the sort of thing you'd paint, but it was just set up as a massive farm, and there was tractors in some fields, animals in other fields, and it was this whole idea of miniaturising the world and making it into this thing that you could just look at on a table in front of you. And that possibly is part of the reason I ended up getting into miniature wargaming. Warhammer 40,000 in particular for me is what I'm into. But this whole idea that you can miniaturise the world, there's I think in Hamburg in Germany, my friend's been but I've not been, there's a miniature, I don't know what it's called, if it's Miniature Wonderland or something along those lines, and they've got all like different scenes that you'll see throughout your life, so festivals, airports, train stations, all these different things where you can go in, and it's just set up room after room of loads of little miniature worlds within this museum, if you like. And that whole idea of miniaturising the world and seeing a scene it gives you sort of a bird's eye view of a scene that, you know, you'd never have seen it from in your real life. You're not likely to have anyway, unless you fly over everywhere in a helicopter. But I'm not lucky enough to own a helicopter, so I don't get to fly over everywhere. Although now with drones, of course, I could get myself a drone and go flying over everywhere. But they brought in loads of laws now with drones in the UK, so probably not worth me investing in a drone. And I don't need another hobby, do I? Anyway, so there's that. And also, the other year, my nana died. And my mum and her brothers and sisters were clearing out a house. And something just sprung into mind that I thought, oh my, I wonder if she still had that. And it was an ornament. It was this ornament here. I'm going to show you. Whoa. So it was this ornament. Now I remember going to my nana's house when I was really young and seeing this ornament. There was another little guy down here, and there's just basically 2 mountain climbers scaling this bit of slate. That's what it is, and it's got like Wales written on a little coaster-shaped bit at the bottom here. I think it's been through the wars, this ornament, as you can probably tell, because it's missing a little guy down there. It's got a load of glue up here where he's been restuck on about 1 million times. So this is a project I'll be renovating, if you like, or restoring. I'll be restoring this ornament in the future. You can see he's barely hanging on there. But yeah, this ornament, I used to go around to my nana's house, and I think films like Cliffhanger and stuff were out at the time, or you know, you just see in movies in general, like people climbing up mountainsides and old cowboy films with cliffs and stuff like that. And it used to set my imagination running wild, where I'd just go and see this ornament and I'd think, where are they climbing to? You know, there's obviously this ornament ends here around the edges, but imagine this on the side of a massive mountain, and they just got to climb all the way up the mountain. 2 guys on their own just tied to each other. And it's funny because I think I started thinking about this again when I was listening to the Jeremy Vine show on BBC Radio 2, and he had a guy on talking about a book he'd written in the 80s or 90s, I'm not sure. Basically, gone climbing in, I think it was in the Andes, and he was just tied onto another climber. There was a lot of hills at the time that were unclimbed in South America, so they didn't want to go to the Alps because there was a lot of people going to the Alps, so they wanted to go to somewhere that was unclimbed, untamed, I guess, if you like. And him and his mate went to the Andes, and long story short, he fell down into a crevasse and broke his leg. And for his mate to survive, he wasn't sure if his mate had even survived, so he had to cut the rope and then make his own way out. And then the guy that had fallen into the crevasse eventually made it back to the camp where they were staying just hours before they were due to leave and then catch the flight home. So I think he's written a book called Into the Void as well, or Staring Into the Void, or something like that. You know, some people watching this, I'm sure, will know that story better than I've just recounted it there. But the narrative behind display pieces like this, you know, you can create a narrative just with 2 little people stuck to a rock like that. And that's one of the things that fascinated me when I was a kid, and I think possibly pushed me towards miniature wargaming. Let me know in the comments below what pushed you towards miniature wargaming. Was it, or just building and painting miniatures? It doesn't have to be miniature wargaming, whatever side of the hobby you're into. Was it ornaments like that? Was it seeing movies? What kind of stuff was it, basically? Did you get into it in a similar way to me, or did it just happen to be that your mate was into Warhammer or another war game when you were younger, and then he sort of brought you into it? Because in a way, it's all of those things that got me into it. I've always been fascinated by models and things anyway. I had scale model cars when I was younger, and just miniature versions of real life things. Really, they sort of set my imagination running wild. So let me know in the comments below what it is that got you into miniature wargaming. We'll get a bit of a discussion going. You know, you may find that you've got things in common with other people that are writing in the comments. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the battlefield.